Yeah, welcome back to another edition of the M365 FM podcast. The podcast where we talk with Microsoft MVPs, product experts, architects, and community leaders who are shaping the future of Microsoft technologies. Today's guest is someone who doesn't just talk about endpoint security, he lives it every single day. Alvin Khalen Aku is
Yeah,
Microsoft
exactly.
is a Microsoft Intune MVP in security, founder and CEO of atvision Swiss AG, a Microsoft-focused MSP and MSSP, and recognized expert in Microsoft Intune, Microsoft Defender, and Microsoft Entra ID. In this episode, we will go beyond product features and dive into real-world challenges, security, thousands of devices, designing modern security baselines, running a security-first management service provider, and helping organizations move from traditional IT to truly modern cloud-first workplaces. Whatever you are, an IT administrator, consultant, security architect, MSP owner, or simply responsible for protecting Microsoft 365 environments, you are going to find plenty of practical advice in this conversation. Albin, welcome to the M365 podcast.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, can you tell us a little bit about your journey, especially into the Microsoft ecosystem?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, it's really simple. It's not that hard. So I made like school in Switzerland and everything that you need to do, and after that, I made an apprentice in IT administration or just in system engineering as a system administrator at the end of the day. And after my apprenticeship, I yeah decide yeah I need I know the cloud is coming. That was 2020, I think, exactly at 2020. And at that particular time at my employer at that time, we didn't do cloud that much,
Yeah.
and I want to do or I knew I want to do cloud things, and I knew I want to do a lot more M365, and that's where I thought myself, okay, should I just change my employer or should I start something myself and just have a look? If it's going well, that's okay, it's great. And if not, I think IT administrators are demand. There is a high demand, especially in Switzerland. So I thought, yeah, if it if I doesn't figure it out to be on my own, then that would be an easy going back to some employer. And yeah, that was like my journey. Then I started, and I had a lot of time in the beginning because yeah, you won't have any customer. The customers aren't waiting for you, or neither they are thinking like, oh, nice, another provider or another managed service provider who can help me with cloud. They aren't waiting. So I had a lot of time, and there started my dedication into modern workplace, into endpoint security. I had my little lab where I just tested everything I can at the time, everything which was supported at that time in Intune with Defender, XDR, Entra ID, going cloud native, and yeah, it's nearly 6 years ago. And yeah, now we are I'm running an MSP with 10 people about, and are we're a traditional managed service provider, just focusing on the Microsoft ecosystem, and a co-managed service provider where we support bigger organizations in adopting Microsoft Cloud, like Azure and try these, moving from SCCM to Intune, moving from any other MDM to Intune, but focus on security at the end of the day.
Yeah. When you look back, what were the biggest lessons during your as founder from your own company?
There are definitely a lot lessons learned on the way. The one of the I think one of the most or the biggest lessons I learned is like there you if you're founding an MSP, there you need to know who is your customer, who want do you want to serve, and who can you serve the best. So that's my biggest lessons learned there, and because you can I just say it's more like you have like a feeling in the stomach if is this customer right for me or not, and you need to listen to that feeling because you will meet customers who are great, and you will meet customers who in the beginning, yeah, it's a nice project, but it won't be you won't the value won't be great because they don't want to implement your strategy for example yeah, just going cloud native, for example. He want to use, for example, not SharePoint, you want to use Nextcloud, and those are signs you need to yeah to understand and to say, okay, is that a customer for us, or should I move forward with my and invest my energy in other things. Yeah.
Yeah. What I think it's interesting for people, it's how complicated is it to become a Microsoft service provider?
Um, it's actually it's not that hard. So the hard thing is to yeah, becoming someone in the radar of Microsoft, so that they acknowledge you as a managed service provider. You do just just starting, it isn't that hard because you just need, if we're being honest, you just need a laptop or some computer and you can start. That's not that hard. So you can be a Microsoft partner with just a company in the back. So if you found a company in America, in Germany, Europe, wherever, um, yeah, you would just contact the company, do all that things the government wants you to do, and after that, you're ready. You can go into the partner center, register as a partner, and yeah, you're automatically a Microsoft partner. But becoming a acknowledged Microsoft partner, so Microsoft that Microsoft knows you, that Microsoft acknowledges your work and all that stuff. That's the hard part, I think.
Hmm, this is interesting. And how does I say the MVP title help you in your professional life?
Yeah, so the MVP title, it's fairly new to me. I got recognized as an MVP in May. So I and I'm like Advision is like I think more than 5 years old. So the title is very new to me, but I if you're an MVP, there is you have some traction which you wouldn't have otherwise. Let's say that in that way, and that sure this helps you a lot with getting to know in where direction in Microsoft is heading, and this helps you yeah a lot.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, a lot of people say that that's be awesome to be a Microsoft MVP, and it helps a lot. Yeah, let's just jump into the first topic, Intune. How has Intune evolved over the past few years from your perspective?
A lot. And I think it's evolved that fast that a lot of people or organizations um, don't recognize it how fast it evolved. For example, the 8-hour myth, which is such strong in our in the minds of a lot of customers we talk to. Yeah, that's so those things are yeah. You see it evolved and you know it evolved, but the organizations who, for example, is the potential customer doesn't know about that. He hears just from another organization, "Yeah, we tried Intune, but it takes like ages to deploy policy," and they start immediately to looking into other into other MDM solutions. And I think, yeah, we need to make more, or yeah, you have to educate, especially as an MVP. I think our job is to educate or to inform potential customers or just yeah in general helping the community to know where are the myths, where are the downsides, for example, and but where are the strengths of Intune, and that's I think a really important one.
Yeah, you say policy. What are the first policy you deploy in every environment?
I think I think when I started testing with Intune, I think it was like, how can I um how can I let some settings disappear in the control panel? I think that was like one of the first things, because you see it immediately if if yeah, if it works or not. So for me was beginning with some obvious things before I'm going into like app blocker or something, or WDEC, and in any other technology. So some appearance things were the first things I tested or tried.
Uh, and how do you build security baselines?
So the the good thing is you don't need to build it yourself. So you have, for example, and I know that everyone knows those Open Intune baselines, which is an amazing community project as well. Either you are going with those, which we see a lot of customers, especially or bigger organizations, start with those, or you start with the baselines which are built into Microsoft Intune. Yeah, you can like talk to a lot of people. Some say yeah, the baselines in the portal are good, and some says no, wouldn't use them. I personally use them, especially at some smaller customers, because they are getting you fast off the ground. You could build them yourself, so but it's just yeah, a question of resources. Do you have them? Is a customer willing to pay for that, or um, does it just need basic security to yeah, get rid of 80% of the most common attacks, for example. But yeah, and it depends if your organization need these security levels or whatever. Yeah.
Mm. And what separates a good Intune deployment from a great one?
So I think, to be honest, when we are doing, or when I do some Intune assessments, where I'm going to a customer and just look into their Intune deployment, is it good, is it not good? Um, I just go ahead and go into the settings where you see what can be enrolled in the tenant. So
Mhm.
can a personal device be enrolled into a tenant, or is it blocked?
Mm,
And if I see those that it's blocked, that most of the time it's more or less good deployment.
mm,
But if I see at that point, like after 5 minutes being into the tenant, I see it's nothing blocked, everything open. Yeah, then I know that's not a good deployment. But yeah, it's like just knowing what you need, your need is, and knowing what most of the time you can see in the configuration if the customer, or if the architecture is with the uh, is it built with the right mindset in the back, or is it like, was it a yeah is one trying to just duplicate their old MDM, and yeah, that those are signs if it's a good deployment or a bad one. And a great deployment is for me, if you have on every device security baselines, and not just on a group, for example, and those everything is scoped to all devices. Um, have you checked the features, or are you using the features you can, for example, just using it for some application management is not intended. So you should use everything you can in the portal,
mm.
like configuration. If you have E3, for example, or E5, so are you using remediations and so on. So it's more or less, do you see the mindset, the right mindset behind the configurations or not? That is for me a great deployment.
But did you see some common misconfigurations often, or is there?
Yeah, so it's we see a lot of misconfigurations, and it's not every time just the customer has done those, but we see a lot misconfigurations when we take over a either a small organization which had a previous MSP, just doing some application management on Intune, but no security baselines, for example. And that's one misconfiguration, I would say. And what I told earlier, like what can be actually enrolled into the portal.
Mm.
Is it just open for every device from everywhere, or do we have the appropriate conditional access policies? Do we have the settings set on if you don't use Mac, why or Mac OS, why should you let Mac OS be enrolled in your tenant? So that's some of the most one we see. And yeah, that when you have no security policies in use, is another big one, which we see often.
Mm.
Yeah, that's I think the most three.
Mhm. And, how do you approach device lifecycle management?
Device lifecycle management is a pretty big topic. So we have, for example, we have co-managed customers where they are just there is a never-ending life cycle. So you are every year in the life cycle. You are every year changing devices. So um, with them, mostly they have you just need a pretty a good Intune setup. How long does it internal IT team, for example, take to restage a device and getting into operation again? And it's mostly a thing of processes. And if you have a good process behind, you you get the devices pretty much really fast restaged and into operation again. And we help them like build first the processes and then or build first the infrastructure around that process and then have a look into the process how you are changing those devices. And but yeah, it's pretty there is a big difference. Are you doing it for a big organization which like they are the whole year into a life cycle into the life cycle and are restaging or redeploying or retiring device, or if it's a smaller one where you just every 3 or 4 years, change all devices.
Yeah, and how do you handle, or what's your strategy for Windows Autopilot, and how do you handle bring your own device?
So we have a at our MSP, we're only working with, device preparation or,
Mm.
Autopilot V2, but they don't like it if we call it Autopilot version 2. So yeah, device prep, but yeah, you need to know what do you need self-deploy or do you need something else? But yeah, we're mostly using device preparation. There are some caveats where like you have no naming, for example, but you can script the naming of the device, for example. And yeah, it's again, it's do you have a big organization where you need to automate a lot of things, or is it a small organization which you serve as an MSP? That there's a really big difference. So when you're serving a customer as an MSP, you could easily drive it through device preparation
Mm.
because most of the time you will order the device for the customer. You will stage it. You will get a field engineer or an operations engineer to the customer to um, yeah, uh, take take this device into operation. In a
Mm.
bigger organization, we have a lot of
Wow.
traditional autopilot V1 customers where we just automate a lot of things from the from putting those hardware hashes into the tenant from the vendor into staging them um, with the device. Device deployment after that, send it to the user for the rest of the user deployment, for example. There are a lot of strategies you can look into, but I think it's a really big difference. Are you working as an MSP for a customer, or do you need to automate as much as possible for the internal IT team that they can use their resources or their knowledge for other things because most of the customer don't have enough IT professionals in their teams, so they are um, yeah, they have a really, really high workload, and so you're looking to automate, yeah, a lot of things.
Mm, yeah, I think this was a good deep dive into iTunes. So let's jump to the next tool, to the Defender. So I think Microsoft Defender has grown tremendously. Which products do you deploy most often?
Um, yeah, it's different from Endpoint. We had a lot of projects. So you, it's again, it's a question. Are you deploying it for a co-managed customer, where you just helping them moving from any third party
Mm,
AV or EDR into Defender for Endpoint, for example, or like we do it at our MSP, standardize on Defender for Endpoint. So we aren't using any Central One or something like that. We are just using Defender for Endpoint. And I think the most deployments we do, it's clearly Defender for Endpoint. Apart from Defender for Office or Defender for Cloud, I think it's the most one.
what are organizations still missing when implementing Defender?
Yeah, I had recently a deployment which I saw with no attack surface reduction rules.
Mm,
Um, that's something they miss a lot, and I think there is a misunderstanding of licensing a lot of the time, because I see a lot of customers using EDR with M365 E3 licenses where it's basically not licensed. Um, and you basically you just have, for example, in the E3 case, you just have different frame point P1, and P1 doesn't give you the EDR abilities, for example. And those, I think, those two things are the most common ones which I see personally.
mm. And how did you prioritize all these Defender features?
Yeah, that's that's a good question, because there are a lot of features which you can use. You need to, I think, or I tell our team members a lot. It's I think M365 or the whole Microsoft ecosystem. Sure, you can wait, or you just can learn by doing.
Mm,
But I think you need to invest a lot. Um, yeah, so you need to invest a lot of free time, I think, if you wanna be an expert in those topics, and especially in those features, because, you won't learn. You clearly have the use cases, in the day-to-day basis. If you're in engineering and do Defender projects or something like that, you will learn those. But the deep dives, the things you understand, how is the technology working, or how is Defender reacting on what types of threats. I think for me, it's just, are you keen enough to learn it for yourself, or are you just working with those? I think there's the difference between working with a technology and making those deep dives into learning those.
mm. And when you say you have, or there's one Defender capa capability that provides the fastest security improvements?
The capability with the fastest security I think attack surface reduction rules,
Mm,
and not letting them on report only or on audit, but getting them into blocked mode will, I think, will save you a lot of headaches, if you know what you're doing. Sure, you can, with those block rules, you can make mistakes and break some applications or line of business apps. Then sure, you need to go on audit first. But I see a lot of deployments where, um, there was a Defender project, for example. They getting into EDR and they configure those ASR rules and just into audit and letting them for years on audit, instead of putting them after some time,
mm,
checking those audit logs, and after that putting them into block mode.
mm. And I think, yeah, Defender can produce a lot of alerts, and the people get tired. How do you reduce these alert fatigue?
Yeah, so it's That's a good question because we see a lot of alerts will get you into the alert fatigue if you want or not. So you need to know, you need first, you need to understand your infrastructure, which where is the noise being generated, um, and why is it being generated? And after that, is it have a look into um, how is it something you need to make an exclusion for? Is it something you need to take action or take care of? And most of the time, it's the defender hygiene. How I tell our customers, you need to have a look into the portal every day. What is going on into your infrastructure? What alerts are there? What are they being resolved? um yeah, is auto remediation on, and so on. So I think you can't, basically security isn't something you can switch on or off. It's a process, and this process is never ending. And yeah, it's basically, you need to understand the infrastructure, you need to understand alerts, you need to and you need the alert, you need the help of alert tuning rules, getting the most out of it. Because if you have, yeah, you said it, if you have too many alerts,
Mm,
you will get alert fatigue, and that's nonsense. So yeah, you need a strategy as well there.
mm. And what role does threat hunting play in your daily life, or in your daily work life?
Yeah, yeah. It plays a really big role actually. So threat hunting is something which I see a lot of IT teams don't know how to use, especially, or for example, KQL as well. Um, they know it exists yeah, somehow, and it does something, and you have to write queries and all that stuff, but they don't know how to use it actually. And I show, for example, if I'm on a Defender project, I try to educate the customer. I try to make them um, yeah, to make sure they have the knowledge. I can't teach them every single use case, but I try to educate them on just their infrastructure and what's normal, what's not normal. And threat hunting is one of that. So they should be able to see some commands and or know some commands which they can use in threat hunting to just check for something. Especially, we have customers, they have like a security team with 10, 15 people, for example, which for someone may it seem yeah, not that much. But in Switzerland, if you have like an IT team of 20, 30 people, it's actually a really big customer,
Mm,
because they will serve a lot of users. Otherwise, they wouldn't need like 30, 40 IT staff.
mm.
And and you uh, when you have security teams, it's easy for them uh, to adopt the threat hunting capabilities, because they have the time for that. But if you have, for example, a customer which does not have dedicated security people, um, that that's the point where it gets really hard into enabling them on using or enabling their skill in using the threat hunting capabilities. In my life or in my daily role, it plays a big role, because I need to be able, in the first place, to educate our internal team into how using those capabilities. But I need to be able as well and to helping the customer. If there is an alert, we often see it before the customer, because all the alerts we are or our customers are generating will are going into our Sentinel as well. But most of the time, yeah, they are coming, or we just do the threat hunt in the background before they even know we are threat hunting for something. Yeah,
And vulnerability management?
yeah, that's a pretty hard thing. So it's uh, s- a lot of people just talk about vulnerability management, but in my opinion, it's not just. you can't just talk about vulnerability management because you need to talk if you talk about vulnerability management, you need to talk about patch management as well. So in my or um when I'm starting a project, is it a different project or Intune project? Yeah, it's not important, but I just ask the customer, how are your processes today? How do are you doing patch management today? And most of the time, either they don't have, they just set everything on auto update, like the most common things, Adobe or Adobe Acrobat or Edge or yeah, those ones. Um, and other customer are having like third party tools like Patch My PC or something, and they are actually they have per, some guy who is doing the patch management. If you don't have a patch management in place, in my opinion, you don't need to start vulnerability management or getting into vulnerability management at all, because the most vulnerabilities you will have is unpatched software. And so you need to make sure you have patched software and patched operating systems in the first place. If those processes are aligned, you don't need to get into vulnerability management, in my opinion. And sure, you can have things like Log4j or something like that, where you need to patch software and applications yeah, as soon as possible. But that's not, in my opinion, that's not vulnerability management. That's you're reacting to something which happened, but it can happen to any other software as well, not just those who are using some libraries which are affected. So, yeah.
So yeah, I think that this was also a good overview. Let's us jump to the third big security tool, Microsoft Entra ID. Um, why has identity become the new security parameter, and what role does play AI actually?
Yeah, I think, especially we have, especially since Microsoft enabled or made it possible to move the source of authority from Active Directory objects into Entra ID. It got on the radar of a lot of organizations again, because the most organizations saying, yeah, why I won't be able to replace my Active Directory um, in 100 years, and it just Microsoft made it just now again possible to just getting into moving into cloud first things. And that's a really big one, and I think a really really big opportunity for a lot of organizations. Sure, it depending on the infrastructure, you can have so much legacy things in your infrastructure that it won't be possible to going cloud native, or moving your object or zone of authority into the cloud, into Entra ID. But yeah, I think that's a good opportunity Microsoft gives you. Um, and yeah, AI is especially it's important for any other. It's like at any other topic, it's important as well. So you need to. I think a lot of organizations are missing out educating the internal IT team about AI, because you can't just educate your users if your internal IT isn't educated on how react to those things. Most of the time, the organizations even they don't even know that different for cloud apps exist, for just minimizing shadow IT, and knowing what is going in which AI and all that stuff. So I think there there needs to be an investment into the internal IT into the internal IT of organizations being able to use, if you're looking into just cloud first, to use cloud first, but a part of AI and cloud first and trying all that stuff in educating them and giving them a clear vision. How are we going to proceed into the next few years, and what's our goal with this infrastructure? If you don't, I think, in my opinion, if you don't have a vision for your IT infrastructure, you're just yeah, you're like a fireman just looking around, and if anywhere starts a fire, you're there with water and trying to uh, that not your whole infrastructure is beginning to burn. So yeah,
Yeah. Is there one Entra ID protection feature you prefer or
uh,
one level?
yeah, apart from Windows Hello and phishing resistant MFA, yeah. Um, so I think if you have um, Entra ID P2 licenses, I see a lot of the time that those conditional identity protection, conditional access policies aren't being used. And I think that's one of the I like that feature a lot because you aren't in the need of yeah, getting thing or like revoking a session immediately because conditional access will take care of this user with medium risk, for example, and yeah, lock him out until you had the time to look at this particular case. Is it now fish? Was it phishing? Was it just a false positive, or something like that? And yeah, I think that's a real cool feature.
Mm, and, how did conditional access policies evolved over the time?
A lot, a lot. But to be honest, we see a lot of organizations, even big ones, just with like one or two or three conditional access policies where they enforce MFA and yeah, on a group and not on all users, and with some exclusions where none of the IT staff know why those exclusions have been made. Um, but you need as well a strategy there to yeah, use conditional access. And over the years it evolved a lot because um, for example, token protection, which is a really cool feature and is and does help you protect the token, which is yeah, I think a really really big attack surface for attackers. When they have the opportunity to steal it, they will try to steal those tokens,
Or
and you need to protect them.
yeah. And, what did you think about passwordless authentication? Is that final ready?
So, in my opinion, if you're adopting or it, you need to think about this in two cases. So the first case is for a user. Um, it's the only one you should go with, and not just passwordless, but phishing resistant as well. So you need Windows Hello for Business or passkeys, and you should be in the phase of the transition from if you had just number matching multi-factor authentication where you just need to type in the number. You should be in the phase in transitioning to passkeys. And but for an admin, uh, it was a little bit harder because Entra ID Connect, for example, wasn't able to um, yeah, to accept phishing resistant MFA. And until now it with the newest, well, I think with the newest release, no, I'm sure, yeah, it's with the newest release you can um, use Entra ID Connect with phishing resistant
Mm,
MFA. And yeah, in my opinion, you need first you need as an admin you need not just passwordless,
mm,
you need phishing resistant passwordless authentication. And for users, yeah, you should be in a phase where you either are transitioning to passkeys, or you are looking at a strategy for migrating into passkeys.
mm,
And with the with the registration campaign, which you can use by now for phishing resistant yeah, MFA, or for passkeys, you can even enforce your user to registering the passkey. And I think the most thing, or the most common thing we see at internal IT teams or organization is that some of the users have old phones and
yeah,
which not supports passkeys. And though, yeah, then you need to either tell the user, you need to get a new phone, or you giving them a physical token too, or a YubiKey for doing phishing resistant MFA. But yeah, it's a really big topic, and you need to be in some sort of transition by now into phishing resistant MFA.
Yeah, can you tell phishing re what is phishing resistance?
Phishing resistant MFA is basically, as it tells us from the name, it's phishing resistant. So if you are doing, for example, number matching, some attacker could play man in the middle and getting you into a fake Microsoft login site and yeah, like stealing you the yeah, I would say the token,
Mhm,
and after that he can take this token, which is basically a cookie, and can create import it into his browser, and is yeah, after that he's logged in your account.
mhm,
And to get rid of this problem, we are using, or Microsoft released some time ago, yeah, passkeys, and with passkeys you can yeah, do phishing resistant authentication. So what basically it will look on which domain, or if you will registering your MFA phishing resistant, it will look from which domain, um, or which domain is linked to this passkey. And when you are on a phishing site and want to authenticate with the passkey, it won't work because the domain is not matching. And this thing basically saves you from getting phished.
and this also helps on ransomware?
Um, he- so ransomware is, ju- I think ransomware it can. So ransomware, it does not protect you um, right away from ransomware, because ransomware, you can, for example, you have an Excel with some macros behind it, and your IT team did not disable macros. Um, you can, if you don't have an EDR or just have an antivirus, um, it won't, uh, maybe it won't detect it and ransomware could start. But I think I think ransomware, it can start with, um, with the identity which is being hacked. So it won't save you, but passkeys will. I think you can say passkeys will make sure that your identity is saved, and it can't go just it can start with an identity theft, for example.
Okay. Interesting, interesting. Um, so I think there a lot of people talk about automation. How much security can realistically be automated?
So security is something. There are some things where, like, you can automate it with Defender XDR, for example, or Defender for Endpoint, where auto remediation is on. You can automate that it block automatically threats, or it blocks automatically hashes, or applications or certificates or something like that. You can automate a lot around security, but I think, in my opinion, you shouldn't automate just everything. Even if you have an incident alert and it gets auto remediated, you need to have a look on it, because you need to know where this alert started. Do you need to take some action, or is it something? Um, yeah, you can't take action or take care of. But yeah, you can, surely you can automate a lot of things, especially with Graph API. Um, you have a lot of awesome community tools, which, yeah, enables enables or helps you being more efficient, or enables you to import policies. For example, for Intune, is Intune management an awesome tool where you can export and import configuration policies, compliance policies, and all that stuff. So yeah, you should automate, and yeah, I'm as well a really big fan of it, but there are things, especially around security, you should have someone looking into those things when something happens.
Yeah, when we think about, say NIS2 or other, yeah, uh, what is it, a framework, uh, law, I don't know, what's the
Yeah.
right word for it. Um, a lot of, I say, leadership, or CEOs, they give away uh, the responsibility for this topic. I say, okay, this is
Mm,
George. He handle our printers. Now he is
mm,
yeah, he is responsible for the security, but they can
mm.
no longer give away yeah,
Yeah.
the yeah,
The
the
responsibility basically, it will be their fault at the end if something happens.
yeah, and how you convince leadership into the investment, into the security topic.
So I think if you need to, if you need to talk to leadership today, or talk them into cybersecurity, and that they need to take responsibility of they have done something wrong in the last years, because this topic should be C-level stuff, and they need to take responsibility. But if I would need to take or to talk to a leadership, um, or to talk them into taking that responsibility and take care of security, um, you need to start with just showing them the vulnerabilities, which are pretty big red in the Defender portal, for example. Just showing them that we should need to close those vulnerabilities. We should need to patch those things. Um, and just showing them those dashboards, I think Microsoft is doing a really, really good job into making it more simple for C-level to understand those metrics. And I would start with metrics. I would really start with showing them, look at those vulnerabilities, look at those softwares who are which aren't patched, and I think this is a good starting point.
I think that's interesting. What security metrics actually matters?
That's a really good question. So I think there isn't. Sure, you have the tenant security score, you have the identity secure score, and you could use those metrics. Um, but it depends a little bit, or it depends as well of your license, because, for example, with Business Premium, which MSPs should be standardizing on and not using just Business Standard or Exchange Online P1 or something like that, or just standalone. Um, you can't close every gap. For example, the identity risk conditional access policy, which we talked about earlier, are behind Entra P2, for example. So
Mm.
you can't tick that box. But I think if you are talking to your CEO or to your security officer, I would start certainly with the identity secure score, because I think that's the biggest attack surface apart from your endpoints, which can be attacked if your users are either cloud native or synced from your Active Directory. That would be the biggest in my opinion, it's the biggest attack surface, because it's only a username, it's only a password, and if you haven't been using MFA till now, you missed out something clearly. But apart from that, yeah, that's three things which can decide if some attacker gains access to your account or not.
Yeah. Uh, Now we are in the age of AI, and Microsoft has everywhere a Copilot and also the Microsoft Security Copilot. What did you think about the Microsoft Security Copilot?
Um, it's so I had the privilege to use it earlier on, and it was or in the early stages, and it evolved a lot. It evolved a lot, and with the opportunity that it's yeah, now involved in your E5 or in the M365 E5 licensing that you can use it without paying additionally, or just on every user adds up to your consumption that you can use. It's really, really cool because it enables the organizations not just working with a Copilot AI and creating agents, but it enables you getting insights about your configuration, getting insights about where conditional access policies uh, are yeah, where is there maybe a hole in your conditional access strategy or something like that. It's good, but there are some things which, yeah, we need to maybe wait a little bit longer till um, it's fully uh, integrated. And yeah, because I there are cases you will see something which Security Copilot won't see, and we need to maybe either wait or it will evolve over time. But it's a good starting point. If you have Microsoft 365 E5 licensing, you should definitely have a look on it. Um, and when it's integrated in your license, it doesn't cost you anything additionally, and so you can use it. And if it just tells you something you didn't know, you gained some value out of it. So I'm a really big fan of, just even if products are not perfect. Just looking into how you can gain a little value out of it. If surely if it doesn't take just resources uh, uh, of like 40 hours or something like that, but if you can easily gain value out of tools or out of the out of the technology in the out of a technology in the Microsoft ecosystem, you should definitely have a look on it. And um, yeah, looking into it, does it can you gain value out of it, or can it help you with securing your infrastructure or something like that?
Yeah, a question I often hear. I say for 5 years, the data analyst was the sexiest job in the IT, and now I think it's the security engineer. Um, how do you hire great security engineers? What did you look?
Yeah, that's a it's a really great question as well. It's really, really hard because you are looking into some engineers or analysts where um where they have gained a lot of experience. I think the era where you had just only looking, or the HR only looking into the resumes and all the
Certificate.
degrees, yeah, certificate. I think this era yeah, I don't think this era is gone. So you need people, and in interviews, you can pretty good talk about security with those guys in interviews, and having them telling. For me personally, I ask them what were your challenges? What solutions do you have, or how did you threat hunt? What did you use when you have done threat hunting? What do you what how what was your biggest challenge and how you solved it? So, and then you will really see, does someone has the knowledge to answer the question, or is it something more basic level stuff which they are telling you? But it's really, really a tough topic, because you in IT you won't find just some security engineers looking for a job. You need to make sure they see you as a company and they want to work at your company, because just giving them some free apples and bananas every day won't convince them to join you. So
You needed some beer.
yeah, exactly.
Uh, I think another topic is it's a little bit change in the IT world, and we are not only speaking about technique, we're also speaking about culture. How do you build a security culture?
Um, yeah, that's I think um, everyone that started at Vision, we for him was pretty clear. We are security minded, and we are and it's easy to say, but you just have to make sure um, first technically that they can't just make that not everyone can just make exclusions in the Defender portal, for example. That's the first thing. But the second next thing is just um, getting know-how to your engineers, to your operations engineers, to your analysts, just having them into see, okay, yeah, it's like educating them, just real world examples, which were use cases, where you discuss them internally, which you warn everyone about. It's not like just telling them, hey, don't click on things.
Mm.
Especially not at the company like ours or an MSP or MSSP, but yeah, it's a hard thing. If you're doing just traditional IT, that's you need to yeah, you need to educate them surely, but I think you can educate them on real world things the best.
Okay. Yeah, and in every session, I have a rapid fire round. That's one word or one sentence answers only. I ask a short questions and
Yeah.
I fast answer. Okay, coffee, tea, or energy drink through threat hunting.
Oh, energy drinks, surely.
Windows or Mac OS, what's safer?
Um, it depends on the configuration, I would say. But so I'm a big fan of Windows, so I would say Windows. But it
Intune or
depends on the configuration.
yeah, Intune or configuration manager.
Intune, clearly.
Defender or third-party security.
Defender.
Hybrid join or intra join.
That's the easy one, Entra joint.
PowerShell or GUI.
Oh, PowerShell is the main one. Yeah, it's absolutely PowerShell.
What's the best Microsoft conference?
Wow, that's a hard question. I think I like all of them. I wasn't at a conference where I thought um I shouldn't have bought the ticket or I shouldn't have take this flight. But I think the workplace ninja in Switzerland is one of the main things I just look forward every year.
What's your favorite keyboard shortcut?
Um, Windows lock, Windows L.
First thing you're doing after setting up a new tenant.
First thing after setting up a new tenant. Um, that's a good question. I never took that into my mind. Yeah, checking if those configurations even work.
Yeah, if Microsoft, Satya Nadella come to you and say, "Hey, Alvin, you get all the resources, money you need. What security feature will you develop?"
Um, that's a really great question as well. I would definitely uh, invest in more into. Uh, I think in protect. I would make token protection more available to other apps, not just the Microsoft apps.
Yeah, cool. So then my closing question is, if listeners could implement one security improvement tomorrow, what should it be?
Um, and security feature tomorrow. Um, that's a good question. You have a lot of good questions where I never thought about those one in depth. So I think it's similar to the last one. So I would yeah, token theft is such a big thing. At the moment, I would invest in those and make it more, yeah, make it smarter and broader.
Yeah. So, yeah, Albin, thank you so much for joining us today, me today. This has been a fantastic conversation covering everything from building Microsoft first management service provider to securing endpoints with iTunes, Defender, and Entra ID at yeah, enterprise at scale. I especially appreciate how practical your advice was and how much of it comes from a real yeah customer experience rather than theory. And if you yeah if the listeners enjoy this episode, make sure to subscribe the podcast and send it um, to all your friends and colleagues. And yeah, thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode. So thank you so much for staying here with me. Bye.
Bye.